two men are the latest in a long and noble tradition of British Muslims. This autumn we remembered the men who fought and died for our country in 2 world wars, including many thousands of Muslims. In the First World War, more than 1 million soldiers from the subcontinent rallied to defend the British Empire. And 20 years later, hundreds of thousands of Muslims again signed up to serve the Commonwealth. Together with Hindus, Sikhs and men from other religions, they created an army of 2.5 million men, 2.5 million volunteers, and we should never forget them. Yeah. Today when I look at the Muslim community, I see how British Muslims are again applying these values to our society. British Muslims are serving as soldiers, as policemen, as doctors and nurses, and yes, in our parliament. But we have got a long way to go before we can say that our society is truly integrated. And for me, building a stronger and more integrated society ultimately boils down to 3 things. First, we need to safeguard our civil liberties as British citizens. Here, this government have got it badly wrong. You cannot hope to build a free, fair or good society by clamping down on the very freedoms we are trying to protect. The whole arsenal of extended detention without charge, the draconian use of control orders, the growth of the surveillance state, ID cards, these things have involved some serious setbacks. I'm proud of the part that my party has played in defending our civil liberties. But second, we need to fight extremism. That applies to every religion and every community. As I see it, religious extremists are a mirror of the British National Party. They both use the politics of grievance and petty discord to promote their vile agenda, and we must never ever give in to them. So wasn't it fantastic to see a British Muslim woman, someone I'm proud to call a friend, Sayeeda She did such a good job taking on Nick Griffin on our television screens a few weeks ago, and as she put it, there is nothing Muslim about violent extremists, and there is nothing British about the BNP. As Sayeeda and I both know, in this fight against extremism, we always need to think hard about the weapons that we use. Language really matters, and we need to choose our words carefully. There's a big difference between attacking extremists and slurring a whole community. We're not going to win over disaffected, unemployed white men in Dewsbury who are thinking of voting BNP by saying they are all racists. And we're not going to beat radical religious extremism by blaming it on an entire community. So when I talk about the people who are causing real problems in this country, I'm always careful to lay the blame at the right people's door. Men like Nick Griffin and Amjad Chowdhury, organisations like the BNP and Hizb ut-Tahrir. But to truly build a cohesive society, we need to do more than fight extremism and protect our civil liberties. And that brings me to the last thing I want to say to you all tonight. A cohesive society, a strong society, a society that brings people together, needs strong role models from every community. We need people from all faiths and all backgrounds at the top of our society, running things and in the top jobs. Just consider for a moment the effect on a struggling British Muslim family of seeing someone like Sir Anwar Pervez go from being a bus conductor to one of the biggest businessmen in Britain. Think about the example which young, disaffected Muslim men get from seeing a sports star like Amir Khan in the ring fighting for Britain. And yes, think what thousands of young Muslim girls must have been thinking when they turned on their television sets and watched Sayeeda Warsi on Question Time. The truth is, they all think I can do it too. And it's not enough, as I've said many times, for a party like the Conservatives just to open the door and say, come on in, if all you see is a sea of white Christian faces. You need to see people from your own communities getting to the top of the army, getting to the top of the legal profession, getting to the top of the business, and yes, getting to the top of the Conservative Party and politics too. So the truth is, if we're going to build that strong, vibrant and inclusive society, we need more role models like this. Many more Muslim men and women at the top of British businesses, many more Muslim soldiers in the highest level of command, and of course more Muslims in our parliament. So there's not just one Muslim in the cabinet and one in the shadow cabinet, but British Muslims all across government in positions of leadership and authority. That is how we will build a society that many Muslims were fighting and dying for 70 years ago. That is how we will deliver the real substantive freedom which so many people have died trying to achieve. So tonight, as we celebrate this great festival, let us work together and create a society that is truly worthy of their sacrifice. Eid Mubarak.
Thank you, David. I'm just going to give a quick vote of thanks. Now, I could thank every individual by name who has contributed to making this evening a success and what they did, and we might eat at midnight, so I'm not going to do that. But I do want to thank one person by name, our future Prime Minister, David Cameron, for making the Conservative Party a party that all Britons can feel at home in. I want to thank the Private and the Captain for the Quran reading. I'd like to thank the executive members of the Conservative Muslim Forum for helping to organise this event, along with our support team, the staff from Altitude. And finally, I would like to thank you, the guests, because without you coming, being part of this evening, we will be speaking to an empty room. Eid Mubarak.